Hello, everyone. My name is Danny, and this review is for Please Stand By. The world is a confusing place for Wendy, a fiercely independent and brilliant young woman with autism. Wendy longs to leave her group home and return to life with her sister's family and new baby. She is sure that in order to reunite with her family, all she needs to do is convince them of her newfound competence and abilities. As a lover of all things Star Trek, Wendy writes in her free time, so when she hears about a Star Trek screenplay competition, she seizes the opportunity to submit her 500-page script and prove her worth. The only problem, if she doesn't hand it in person, she will miss the deadline. Wendy sneaks out of her group home and travels hundreds of miles outside her protected boundaries and refuses to let anything stop her from achieving her goals. This is a 2018 film, rated PG-13, running an hour and a half. It stars Dakota Fanning, Toni Collette, Alice Eve. It's quite the movie. Very long description on the back there. It's talking about Dakota Fanning and everything that she does to kind of get out of her comfort zone as somebody that's autistic, and who she encounters along the way to make her dream kind of come true. So I enjoyed the whole thing. I'm just going to say my biggest problem, and I don't want to talk about it. I'm just going to state it because I don't want to get in trouble or seem confused at all, but I don't know, and I probably never will know, if everything that Dakota Fanning does is precise, is something capable of somebody with autism, like sneaking under the storage part of the bus, or outsmarting somebody by sneaking around them, or there are certain things in this movie that I don't know if somebody with autism would be smart enough to figure out. But since it's a movie, they want to make it kind of fun and creative, and obviously Dakota Fanning's character is a genius of some kind. But I don't know if somebody with autism would be able to figure that out. So that's my biggest problem. I'm not going to nitpick every single thing that happened because I don't know, from personal experience, if somebody with autism would be able to figure that out. But that's my concern for this movie, especially watching it the whole time. I just didn't know what to say, so I won't. Okay. So I would say my other thing about this movie is it's an hour and a half. It fills it well, and the people she encounters along the way, it seems like they're all interesting and they all kind of have their own thing going on. They're supposed to kind of be helping, but it's kind of an adventure thing, but it's just for one thing. It's like a contest. It's not something that's life changing. So if you're looking for something that's, supposed to be a miraculous adventure, it's not that. It's just kind of one thing of this one girl's life. So that's my other kind of worry for the movie. All right. So into my notes, mostly positive. I kind of thought it was really cool that it ended up being about Star Trek. After the first 5 minutes of being out in space and everything, I was really hoping it'd be more about space, and I didn't know what the movie was going to be about. I've never heard of this movie before I started watching it tonight, So I didn't know what I was in for, and it really started out really cool, and then it ended up being about Star Trek, and that's fine. I just thought, oh, that's maybe we're out in space for the whole movie, but it was just a little tease. But yeah, everything was kind of cool. I'm a mild Star Wars and Star Trek kind of watcher, so I don't really know everything about Star Trek. I've watched all the Star Wars, so I can't really say I know too much about what was going on. I don't know any Klingon or anything like that, but a lot of people will like this movie. And I'm really glad that it made something like as mainstream as Star Trek. So I thought that's good for it, that maybe people should watch this because it's kind of interesting. I really liked Pete the dog. Oh my gosh. See, this is a kind of movie that just makes you smile along the way. And Pete the dog was able to play his part. I have no idea how people do this, but like there was two times that Pete asked to basically go to the bathroom, and how people train their dogs to do that, ask once, no, 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 not right now, and then ask again. That takes some talent. So some connection between someone like Dakota Fanning and a dog. I mean, how that happened, I don't know, but it was really interesting and really delightful. But most of the time, he's just really cute. He does things that I don't know how they got accomplished, but he was really good in this movie the whole time, and he's really fun to just look at and enjoy and have fun with. So, um, my worry about it being not much of a well-rounded story, it still is a good story. I wish that they would have elaborated maybe on some key parts and everything, but there's some people that just kind of jump into the story and then jump out, and that's fine, whatever. I mean, you got to keep it moving. So I thought it was a really good story. I thought the way they handled it and the way they give this person, some drive to keep going on when it'd be really easy to give up. That's a great lesson. From any movie to do that, I would appreciate it. So I thought it kept it moving. It was about some really cool stuff, had some good morals. I appreciated that. I had to laugh at a couple things, and like I said, um, being autistic, this movie was made to be delightful and enjoyable, right? Had a big name like Dakota Fanning, right? So, are we supposed to laugh at the things she says? Are we supposed to laugh at the things she writes down that are really kind of make you laugh, but you don't know if you're supposed to laugh? I just did the whole time. I enjoyed it. She did not have a great experience with this bus, and the next scene, she reminds herself to write down that bathrooms on the bus are broken. And I mean, for any movie maker to come up with something like that, that's just really, really funny. But I mean, like, that's a real thing. Autistic people have to write down something to remind themselves in the future that they can look back on that not you can't use the bathroom on the bus. I mean, like, that's a real thing, but it was so funny. So I know I hope that's what the movie makers of this movie were hoping for, because that's the effect it had on me, and I really enjoyed it. There are a lot of things down the line. I just wrote down that one, but there are a lot of things like that she either said or wrote down that I just thought were really funny. And so that's kind of what kept the movie kind of light and just enjoyable. So I know it's supposed to be a success story in a different way. I mean, has a point. Excuse me, and has a point, and you think she's going to have success in one way, but she still has success, and I enjoy that. And so I just thought it was a good movie for what needed to be done, got done. And so I called that success. And even though the end doesn't satisfy us maybe the way we thought, it still has closure. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to look right here at you, okay? Movies need to have closure. This movie is an example. It has her go back to this guy that gave her a mixed CD, and she gives him a mixed CD. Like, it actually makes sense to go back to that and do that so that we have a connection and we have closure, and it feels good and it makes you smile. Movies need to do that more. But no, it goes to the next step and has her see her little niece and feel comfortable holding her. I mean, come on, people. How hard is that to do? This movie looked at itself and said, you know what? We need two things at the end that are going to make people thank us for having closure. They did that. And maybe it's a little bit negative before that she doesn't win this contest, but that's one negative for two positives. I think that's a good balance for any movie. For anything that anybody says negative about your movie, they have two positive things to say about it. And that is my relationship with this movie. And I'm just going to say this for the record. I try to go back and watch my YouTube videos every once in a while. And I want to remember this. This movie, Please Stand By, is the hardest decision I've had for grading a movie. It's going to be a B plus or an A minus. And I just sat here and struggled with the decision. I think it's got to be an A minus for the thing that I just said. If you have a negative, somebody like points out your movie, oh man, that really